Hello guys and welcome. I'm gonna make a little video today, which is not something I normally do, so don't expect too much when it comes to the production value. I've got zero editing skills, so it's just gonna be me talking for 3.5 minutes or so, which I know is kind of boring. I'm gonna work on learning how to edit videos one day, but for now I really want to get this off my chest because I feel like this is an important thing to talk about, and I have talked about it on my stream for a while, and a lot of other people talk about it at events, but nothing really gets done about it. So I want to talk about barcoding. I generally think barcoding is not fun and it's not good for the game and it's not good for the scene, which is a shame because I think StarCraft 2 at the moment it's obviously doing good, guys, and I know that sounds weird to say in 2018, but we're kind of crushing lately. You see a rise in the personal streams, you see a rise in the online tournaments, and even when you look at the pro tournaments like Valencia, things are going great. A lot of people are coming back to StarCraft that have left a while ago. And a lot of people just seem to be enjoying the game a lot more than they were a couple of years ago, which is awesome. However, the ladder is full of barcodes, and this has to stop. For many reasons. Like, first of all, I honestly don't think barcoding is very fun. You know, I play against a barcode and I play against another barcode. Sometimes it's 5, 6, 7 barcodes in a row. And how is that fun? Not even knowing who I play, all I see is just a bunch of bars. It just feels lonely, and StarCraft 2 is already kind of a lonely game. It's obviously not a team game, so you're by yourself. So to make it even more lonely by hiding behind a barcode or playing only against barcodes, it just doesn't really help the cause at all. If anything, it just makes it feel more like you're playing against a computer and not actually having the interaction that StarCraft does provide. Because at the end of the day, this is a very fun 1v1 game. So it's fun to develop relationships as well with people you play on the ladder. If all you play is barcodes, it's just kind of like, nah, you play a bunch of faceless people, you don't know what's going on. And in my opinion, it's less enjoyable than knowing who you play and trying to remember some games, knowing the names. But there are much bigger issues than other than the fact that it's not very fun. Above all, I honestly think that barcoding is kind of unfair on the ladder. I feel the barcode player will always have an advantage over the non-barcoding player. There's obviously a lot of barcoding players out there, but there is only one Go-Go Joey, for instance. So if Go-Go Joey plays against barcodes, these barcodes will eventually know, like, hey, we played on Dreamcatcher, we played on Lost and Found, this and this is what happened. They can remember those games. However, Mr. Joey has no freaking idea, I'm just using Joey as a random example, that he is playing against the same guy or not. Meanwhile, the barcode player can start making adjustments to their play, while the other person has no idea that they know about the previous games, that they can make those adjustments. So they're getting an unfair advantage, because how is it fair if they have 2, 3, 4 games to fall back on, while Mr. Joey has no idea that those 4 games happened because he has played 400 games against barcodes, and you just don't know. Now, I know that the number one argument for barcodes is, well, I just want good all-around practice. That's why I barcode. It's bullshit. Everyone knows that's bullshit. People will use the barcode to their advantage. If you die against a 9 adept pressure because of a hidden gate against Mr. Joey, the next time you're gonna look for that hidden gate. And that's obviously totally fine. That's part of StarCraft. But it's not fair that you know that you had that 9 gate adept game with that proxy gate, while Joey just thinks like, well, I'm just gonna try this one more time because it worked very well against that other guy. But you're doing it against the same time. So this is not good all around practice. You're using an unfair advantage. Because if Mr. Joey would know that as well, he'd be like, well, I already did that against him once. I'm not going to do that again. Let's try something different. So in that way, the barcoding player has a pretty big advantage. They're able to make adjustments while the other person is not. And saying you don't make adjustments and you're doing the same thing, like, what are you trying to do then? Okay, I'm not gonna scout in that position, or you are. Either way, it's corrupt, it's wrong, and it's not the ideal practice scenarios. Now, obviously, barcoding happens at a lot of different levels as well. The first one is like at the absolute top level, right? You look at, let's say, the showtimes and whatever, the best players in Europe or in Korea, you see the best players. They want to be on a barcode because they are preparing for tournaments. Now, obviously, I understand if this is your job, you want to do whatever you feel is right to get that minor edge. If you feel like barcoding is the best way to prepare for a tournament, who am I to say that they're wrong? But I do find it interesting because at the end of the day, there are only so many players at that level. There are very few top players in the region. So how effective is the barcode truly? I mean, I can open up Sc2 Unmasked right after the game and I'll know exactly who it was if I'm playing against one of those guys. And above all, those guys, because their execution is so good, there are very few people that can execute things in a certain way as well. And then, of course, those players also have their tendencies. They group their buildings in a certain way, their army in a certain way. it's no rocket science to figure out who that barcode is. So is it really that sweet of a practice, or is it just a convenience of, everyone barcode, so I barcode too? Because to me, it seems kind of silly. It's like, well, look at this. This is the best Terran player in the world. His micro was unreal, his multitasking was sick, and his macro was fantastic. He's all across the map. He's all over the map, and he's rank 1 Korea. I really wonder who this is. Well, it's either Maro or Innovation. Oh god, well, I'm so happy that he's a barcode, because I really couldn't figure this out. To me, that also seems kind of silly, but if there are those 5-6 pros out there who generally feel they need the barcode, whatever. I don't think it really gives you much. I also think the argument I made before goes for them. If you are preparing for a tournament, it's actually better that people know what you're doing. If you truly want hidden practice, you play custom games. If you're playing ladder, the games are still out there, they're still out in the open, and it's still easy for your opponents to figure out that it was that certain player. And then they can make those adjustments knowing on what they know about you, while you don't necessarily know how they will reply to that in a tournament. So to me, it seems a tiny bit counterproductive, but whatever. It is what it is. Perhaps it is mandatory. I really don't think it is. And I think the pros can be totally fine without it. Anyway, I think below that, you also have a lot of barcodes. Let's say you're talking about the 6K MMR region. It's filled up with barcodes, and to me this is mind-blowing. Barcoding for what? You're not going to win WCS, you're absolutely not going to win GSL. Why are you barcoding, trying to win, the SCV Rush tournament on Thursday when the top pros are not playing? If you are a good player, but you're not there yet to really win those tournaments, the last thing you should do is barcoding. Playing without a barcode is going to give you much better practice, even if people will try to hard counter you because they know who you are. That is the practice that you need to make deep runs in tournaments. And above all, if you're a relatively unknown player, get your name out there. If you get your name out there a lot more, it's much more likely you get invited to a Wadi tournament or you get invited to a base trade tournament. But if all you have to do is have good results on a barcode, then who knows, when a tree falls in the forest, it's just pointless to me. This is that phase where you really want to make that next step. You want to get the best practice, which is not having an unfair advantage over your opponents. It is getting your name out there and getting ready for those tournaments if that is what you dream of. And last but not least, obviously we've got a bunch of barcodes even in diamond, silver, gold. I don't know what you're doing. It's totally silly. It's pointless. You're taking, in my opinion, some enjoyment away from the scene, from other people, because playing against a barcode is simply not that fun. I know that's an opinion, and some people may say I actually prefer it. Sure, I think the majority of the people don't enjoy it. If I'm wrong, then this entire video is pointless. But I think if you're, that quote-unquote low league, or if you're that low in skill, no offense, barcoding is incredibly silly, because what do you get out of it? Now I understand that some people may be well, I just don't want to play under my real name today, or I don't want, my other World of Warcraft friends to know that I'm playing StarCraft and I don't want to be bothered, I just want to be left alone. That's fine, but then make an account and call yourself Super Vegeta for all I care. If you call yourself that, no one will know that it's you who actually normally is the random pleb in Diamond League. You can still play your games in peace, but then at least your opponents can build a sort of relationship with them. And even if you don't want any relationship, at least you're getting fair games and you're contributing, in my opinion, to the enjoyment of this game. Now, of course, there is one more side as well, and that is where often streamers say, I need a barcode because otherwise I get sniped all the time. I don't get that argument at all. I don't barcode. I honestly don't have the feeling I get sniped a lot. Even if I do, I don't think I don't have the feeling that they're cheating against me. And if they truly want to do that, they're going to do that anyway. Whether you barcode or not barcode, they can still find you. They can look at your opponent of the last game. They can find your ladder account through the match history like that. They can still queue it up. They can watch your stream, see when you search, unless you want to use a 3-minute delay, but then you can't interact with your viewers. Also seems pointless. To me, above anything, barcoding sometimes seems more like an ego thing. It's more well, I'm behind a barcode and then they didn't know that I lost that game. It's is it really that bad to lose a game of StarCraft? We all lose, and deep down inside, we all know we're not Maru, Serral, or Rogue. We know that. So why do we have to barcode to make ourselves get over the loss easier? To me, it kind of seems pointless, and I really want all of us to make a difference. I don't think I'm the only one who feels like this. When I talk about this on my stream, a lot of people will agree. Let's make a difference, guys. If you have a barcode, you watch this video and you're I can get behind a couple of these points. Maybe it is more fun, and even if I want to be anonymous, Just pick a random name. Call yourself Captain X, call yourself Kaya. I don't care. Anything other than a barcode. So at least people know who they're playing and it's no longer faceless. Now, I don't think it's all on us. I would obviously love to say that, you know, it's the community's fault and yada yada yada, and I don't really know where that would be going, but I do think Blizzard could do more against barcoding as well. There's a lot of games where you can see where, you know, your allies or your opponents are from. They have a little code behind the name, NL, DE, UK, whatever. Maybe for privacy reasons that's not possible, even though you see that everywhere, but I still think that would already help it, because there's obviously only X amount of barcodes that are playing from the Netherlands at, you know, 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. There aren't 7 of those, it's 1 or 2. And if one barcode is from Ukraine and the other one is from the Netherlands, then at least you kind of know who you're playing. But I think a much bigger argument is, I think it's time, guys, that we start showing the MMR on the loading screen. I honestly feel this is long overdue. It feels like almost every single game that there is out there, you know what kind of level your opponent is. And you can of course say like, well, there are ranks, right? Grandmaster League, Master League. Yes, but that's pointless, guys, because a barcode that is 6.5k MMR is in no universe comparable to a barcode that's 5.7 MMR. Those are two completely different things that actually should be 4 leagues separated, because that 800-900 MMR gap is massive. So I honestly think if we can see the barcode on the loading screen, it would be awesome, and that would also reduce the amount of barcodes, because then barcoding becomes a little more pointless. Because obviously if I lose a game against a 6k MMR barcode, and the next game I queue up I get a barcode with 6013 MMR, it's like, well, I think I know who this is. This is the same guy as before. So anything that could make barcoding, you know, less useful and getting that unfair ladder advantage, as the way I see it, I think that would be great. And I honestly think a lot of people would love to see the MMR on the loading screen anyway. Now, I know there is a counter argument to that, and that is, but Roddy, a lot of people are going to be demotivated when they see that their opponent is 500 MMR above them. They might just leave immediately. Yes, that is possible. I personally think that's a poor attitude, obviously, because in the end of the day, there's also a lot of people who say like, man, that would actually only motivate me extra, because I would love to get like that upset. I'd love to get that 50 MMR. But I think the amount of people that dislike barcoding is far bigger than the amount of people that say like, well, I really would like to know that my opponent is higher MMR than me before we start. I don't think that is a big deal. Now, of course, you know, I've been playing for a long time, and maybe I'm more comfortable playing RTS games than other people out there. But I just have a hard time believing that that is a valid reason for everyone else out there not to know what the exact ranking or the exact level of their opponent is. It just seems so silly to me. So that's about it. I am gonna add 2 polls in the bottom of this, I don't know how YouTube works, you know, a little description below. And I'm gonna make 2 polls. The first poll is, would you like to see the MMR on the loading screen? Let me know what you guys think. I would love it. I honestly think it would be fine, even if my opponents would be 500 MMR higher. That wouldn't give extra pressure to me. To me, that would feel like a free roll. Well, if I lose, I won't lose any points, and if I win, it's the MMR jackpot. Sounds pretty damn good to me. And the second poll is, do you find barcoding an issue? Yes or no? Do you enjoy playing against barcoding? Because I personally don't think it's that fun. Maybe this is a big deal for me, but not for everyone else. But we'll see. I'd love to hear from you guys. Maybe this entire video is pointless, like I said. But I'd really love to make a difference, and if I can make even the tiniest bit of difference with this video, I'd be very happy. Because at the end of the day, even when I play, right? Or even when I watch other streams, let's say I watch a The Muslim, I watch a Snoot or a Utermal. If I'm watching Snoot stream and I see him loading up against a game, Snoot versus, let's say, Nemchar, I'm like, oh, sick, that's really good, that's going to be fun, those are 2 good CVCs. If I see Snoot versus Barcode GM Zerg, I get less excited. And I honestly believe all these small things help in the enjoyment of StarCraft 2, as you know, there's a lot of people out there that watch streams. It is more fun to see 2 big names against each other than big name streamer versus barcode. Imagine if you watch Hero Marine stream, right? He streams a lot, great stream. And you see him, Hero Marine versus, you know, Utermal, sick. Hero Marine versus DNS, that's gonna be sick. Hero Marine versus Showtime, oh my god, hype. Rather than Hero Marine versus Barcode Protoss, and then sometimes at the end of the game he's 5-7 and you're like, LOL, why the hell did he even play Hero Marine? Or at the end of the game you see it's 6-8-5-0 and you're like, well, I guess we have to open Sc2 Unmask to figure out who that is. It's like, come on. And at the end of the day, I think there is beauty in Serral's dominance. Because maybe Serral has a barcode, I'm sure maybe he has a barcode somewhere out there. But he also has a regular account. He just plays on this Serral and gets rank 1 GM, MMR, you know, rank 1 Grandmaster League in Europe. Far and away, like clear of everyone else. And guess what? That's the guy that's actually winning the tournaments as well in the foreign scene. Is that a coincidence? I don't really think that's a coincidence. I just think that, you know, if you are the best, if you are better, you're gonna win anyway. So the barcoding, whatever. Let me know what you guys think about this video. I know I've been rambling on for quite a bit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys are as passionate and opinionated about this issue as I am. If I don't make a difference, it is what it is. There's always the next day and maybe another whiny video. But the main reason I made this video is honestly not because I get so upset when it's barcoding. This is not about me. I just think overall it would be better for StarCraft and better for the scene if we can just stop barcoding. A, it seems kind of pointless. If you guys have counter arguments, feel free to let me know. But B, the game would just be more fun with less barcodes and more real players. And StarCraft 2, like I said, it's a fantastic game, greatest game out there. And if you're watching this video, you probably agree with me that it's the greatest game out there. Why not give a little more personality to the game? Why hide behind silly barcodes and make the game more lonely than it perhaps already is for some people if they don't have a lot of friends who play StarCraft? Anyways, that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure to vote in the polls. And one day I'm going to learn how to edit a YouTube video so I don't have to ramble on for 7 or 8 minutes. Peace.